What is spina bifida for someone who doesn't know?
So essentially, my spine didn't close all the way. So I had nerve endings that were out and exposed. There's different types of spina bifida. There's some people that have it that don't even know it. They'll go to the doctor one day and the doctor will be like, hey, did you know you have this? They don't have any symptoms or anything. It's just something that they live with. But with mine, I have nerve damage. I've had to have several surgeries. And developing Taser Girl has helped me with that because people don't know.
Welcome to Creepalachia. Today we're doing something a little different. I was contacted by Real West Virginia to do an interview. They've been so kind to offer an article and the expertise of Anna Knapp, who is in the studio today.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us,
Thanks
aka Taser Girl.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So basically, how we're going to do this is you're going to interview me and I'm going to interview you, and we're going to see what happens.
Yeah.
So basically, let's start with you. So what's your background? Where'd you grow up?
I am from Greenberg County. I grew up around Quinwood. Was there until recently. Then a couple months ago, we moved to Huntington. He got a job. My boyfriend got a job at Marshall.
Awesome. And Chase is in the studio with us. So lower your mic just a little bit. There we go. Perfect. So how'd you get into journalism?
Well, last year, the Real West Virginia, they contacted me about writing some articles about all the haunted attractions that I was going to visit last October. I met Matt that works for the Real WV from working at Miller's Nightmare Haunted Farm. They would come and do articles about the farm and all that kind of stuff. And we just became friends. And I actually had posted something on Facebook just about personal stuff. And he contacted me about wanting to write an article about me, just overcoming like personal things. And it just kind of evolved from there. And then in that conversation, he was like, so what are your plans for October? And I was like, well, I'm not going to be acting. I'm not haunt acting this year, but I am going to go visit and be on the other side of it and walk through them. And I was going to post my experiences at these attractions on my Taser Girl page. But he was like, well, wait, let's do it this way. So it was really fun. And that's kind of how it all started.
How cool. So you're a haunt actor.
Yes.
So you was talking about Miller's. We had a show with them, with Ron.
Mm-hmm.
What did you do there? How many years did you work there?
So I worked at Miller for 8 years, full-time 8 years, but this is like 10 years of Taser Girl is this year. But yeah, it was fun and I really enjoyed it.
How did you come up with your character Taser Girl?
It just kind of like organically happened. When I first started, I was just kind of like this like zombie girl that was in the woods. And since I was in the woods and I'm so small, I had a real taser with me. And I was like, can I use this into my act? And they were like, sure, just don't tase anybody. And so it just kind of like happened that way. And then people started calling me Taser Girl. And it just like happened like that. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's fun. So you didn't actually, take, I mean, I'm sure it's a non-functional taser.
Well, when I first started, I had a real one.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I had a real one. I never tased a guest. I tased myself accidentally. We were like getting ready, and typically at the farm, I had been one of the last few people would get to, so I had a long break. And it was the first group, and I saw them coming, and I was adjusting my costume. I was like pulling up my pants, and I had my taser in my hand, and I tased my stomach.
Lord, did you just fall over?
No, I was
Okay.
well, I had to keep going because they were coming. So I was like in the zone. And as soon as they passed, I sat down. I was like, okay, I'm good. I'm good.
So you were like, ooh.
Yeah.
That's great. So what do you love about haunt acting? Like, is it, getting the chance to, I don't know, just to play a character or to, scare some little child, or what's your most favorite part?
I mean, really all of the above. I love everything about it. Before I started haunt acting, I was very shy, very like backward, wasn't very sociable, had a hard time talking to people. And then developing her, it's like a switch and I'm a totally different person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a basket case. Like that's kind of the show. Like I got to force myself to be, hey,
Yeah.
I'm extroverted.
Yeah.
But no.
But yeah, it was, I loved it. And I love scaring any age, but men are typically my favorite because I'm so tiny and I can get them running away from me, chasing men and getting them. It's
nice. So did you have a certain place that you would be every year, or did you kind of switch it up every year at Miller's?
For most of the time, like when we first started, I was in the woods. But for the last couple years, they have a school bus and I was in the school bus.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice. When you started doing your makeup, how did you come up with this design? It kind of has like a clown vibe, but clown and mime mixed. You got two diamonds that are like orangish, reddish.
Yeah, it just kind of happened. I really like Harley Quinn. So there's a lot of Harley Quinn in Taser Girl.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it just kind of happened. And I like pink and I like orange and they go well together. And I like blood. I like to there's always a lot of blood all over me.
Right?
Yeah.
Always a good time. So do you make your own blood or do you like?
No, when Spirit Halloween opens, I'm in there like getting gallons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
I was like at Miller's, I was like the blood girl. Whenever people got done with their makeup, they would come to me and I would splat it all over them and throw it on them. And my hands were stained red for the whole month of October.
Oh, that's great. That's great. How many people worked there when you were there?
A lot. I mean, I started pretty much from the very beginning. I didn't do the first year that they opened back up. And it just kept growing and growing and growing. Like when I started, we were in their house, like getting ready in their basement, like Ron was talking about, and we were taken to the farm. So probably around then there was probably like 50 some people, a little bit more than that, but now there's over 100.
Yeah.
By the time I left. But yeah.
Yeah. What's the process at the beginning of the year? Are you kind of introduced to the theme or?
Oh, they have like a scare school and I would help with that some. And it's a very long process, especially when the actor themselves like develop a character. I am always thinking of ideas and way to change like new costume, the way to change my makeup, everything.
Right. So you do mix it up.
Oh yeah.
Every year.
I think on my Instagram there's a new picture of it's like an AI picture. When those like AI pictures were real popular to do.
This one?
Yeah.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a little bit down from there.
Oh, they got me. I need to log in. How do I do this? Let me see. Show everyone my password. I got to figure out how to do that. Is it not on your Facebook page?
It might be.
Let's see. Oh, this is cool. What's going on here? Confetti?
Yeah, confetti.
Nice.
It was my birthday not too long ago.
Well, happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
How old are you?
I turned 30.
30?
Yeah.
Nice. I'll be 40 this year.
Nice.
Officially over the hill. As of August 24th. But yeah, so I can't find it here. I got to figure out. Yeah, I got to get into Instagram here. So, all right. Questions. Do you have any for me?
Oh, yes.
What's the interview format? This is the first official interview.
Yeah, this is really my first interview.
Perfect.
Yeah.
This is great.
Yeah, because like all of my articles that I've done, I just go to have an experience and I just write about my experience.
Awesome.
So, this is my first interview, but yeah, just why did you want to start this? Like, what's your background and
Yeah. So basically, I run a marketing agency, and I've ran it for it's been about 9 years now. But before that, I was a coal miner for 9 years of my life, and I worked a year and a half in Boone County, and I worked 7.5 years in a place called, you know where R.D. Bailey Lake is? Okay, well, it's above a place called Hanover, West Virginia.
Oh, okay.
Well, there's a place there called Coal Mountain, West Virginia, and I worked there for 7.5 years for Bluestone, and I ran heavy equipment. I drove a rock truck every night or every day. I was on day shift eventually. And I hated my life, but I loved the money I was making. I loved the people I was working with.
Yeah.
So I was really appreciative of that. But I knew I wasn't too good of a coal miner.
Mm-hmm.
So, I initially started. So The Walking Dead came out in 2012.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to make a zombie movie.
Okay.
And the only problem was I didn't know anything of what to do. So I started teaching myself on YouTube how to do stuff. And the first video I ever did, it was this explosion. I learned After Effects first, and it's like a visual effects program for people who don't know. But it's also very hard to learn. Mm-hmm. So I think doing that first helped me figure out how to do this professionally, because it was about a year later, I made a bunch of different short films and goofy things under another YouTube channel. It's called Skank Entertainment. And so that was my first thing. And there's about 30 some videos on there of different projects, and don't judge me on them. It's just crazy stuff. Yeah. But had a lot of fun doing it. And eventually a job opened to be a video production editor for a car automotive company. And so I said, I made a big decision. I quit, took a huge pay cut, probably about 50% of my salary. And also the insurance was awful. And I'm a type 1 diabetic, so insurance was a big deal. And I don't know how wordy you want me to get, but I'm just going to tell you the whole thing.
Yeah.
But my wife was tired of hearing it. She was like, quit, do it already. I don't care what you do. Leave me alone. Now, she was a little more supportive than that. But so I did. And then I made car commercials for 3 years of my life and had a great time, and eventually learned how to do the craft and be more productive. And eventually I started a marketing agency, which has no affiliation with Creepalachia, but it's called JJM Multimedia. And basically the acronym is my initial, my wife's initial, my daughter's. So JJN. And we started that in 2016, and we had no clients. And the art director that I met there, shout out Corey Frazier, at the automotive place, we quit our jobs together and started this thing. And thankfully it started working. Yeah. People started hiring us to do different things. And eventually we've built up enough revenue base after adding different services like website development, social media management, all kinds of different things. We had enough revenue to now we have 7 full-time employees, and they all make median household income of West Virginia. They all have benefits. I'm pretty sure we have the most PTO in the state in our field. Mm-hmm. We get all the federal holidays off, and everyone is so much more talented than me. So that's the goal, is to hire people smarter than you, trust them to do things, pay them well, take care of them. And it's worked out. And that being said, that's a long way of getting to this of like, well, as success came, I define success as not being in debt, making enough money to keep the bill collectors at bay. Yeah. Being comfortable to save some money for a rainy day. Yeah. I wanted to combine my original diving in of video, which was Skank Entertainment, with the professional part with JJN. So I had some free time because of all these smart people on the team to start a show. And I originally started a show called Cryptic Dish, and it didn't last too long. We had a good time with it, but schedule wise, it was impossible to do because I had 3 other people that I had to count on to be here. And it's just hard for people to do that. Like, it's easy for me because I own my own business. I know the boss. I set the schedule. Like, I can choose what to do, but not everyone else is like that. And it didn't work out. It was very fun though. It was basically a show that we would set up a subject, like, the Mothman, for instance. Well, we'd do a whole episode. We would, I'd read 3 minutes of the story. I'd read the story in 4 parts, and it'd be about 3-minute segments each. So we'd do a round, and then I'd flip a timer, and then we'd have 6 minutes to go around the table and talk about that segment. Which it was fun. It was a cool format.
Yeah.
Had a great time doing it. The production time, the post-production time took so long. And I had, it just didn't work out. And I love those guys. They're good friends. But we kind of decided like, well, this, time-wise, this isn't going to work. So originally, Cryptic Dish started as me reading solo stories. And I don't know if you know Mr. Ballin, but he's a really good YouTuber that tells stories just basically like this. Tells stories like this right at the camera. And I love him. And he's very talented and huge following. And he's just a storyteller. I mean, it's lo-fi quality kind of. It's not like this. It's, they do a good job with it, but it's like sometimes you can see the green from the green screen on his clothes and stuff like that. But it's fun.
Yeah.
And that's how Cryptic Dish originally started. So I said, well, what if I do an interview style of Mr. Ballin? But also I can, I could do solo stories, but I can do interviews. I can have people that have like a dark, unknown, strange, but also sometimes tragic, heroic story in Appalachia to tell. Like, it could be someone survived a car crash. Or someone survived, stage 4 cancer. All the way until, someone saw a interdimensional Bigfoot or UFOs. But also, psychics, or, we're going to have a witch on. We're going to have, I'm trying to get snake handlers and like people from all of these different backgrounds in Appalachia to have them come in, tell their story, me ask them questions. Cause this is like, I'm an okay interviewer because I've done this for 8 years professionally. So I'll have to ask people interviews in a way that sets up sound bites to where I can make a video later. So I knew I could do it, and I'm trying to be personable. I try to put this mask on of not being a low self-esteem, insignificant piece of garbage, and just say, no, hey, it's all fun, tell jokes, all that stuff. So the first interview was with my father-in-law, who was a coal miner for 40 years. And he said, I have some ghost stories. I said, oh, dude, that's perfect. Coal mines, ghost stories. Nailed the show, the goal of the entire show. So we done that, and I had a really good time. Well, I'll back up a little bit. So before that, this room we're setting in was like a really dank storage room. I was telling you, it's like concrete floor. There's like particle board on the sides. This ceiling wasn't finished. Like, it was just useless. So I rebuilt this. That's the first thing I did after Cryptic Dish ended, is I started rebuilding this room, and I did all the work in it. And except for the electric, I don't mess with electric. So did all the work in it except for that. And I did it in like a month.
Nice.
Yeah. So I was pretty happy. Like I built that. There's like a slat board behind you there. I built that, mounted it to the concrete block. I don't think it's going to cave in.
I mean, it looks awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, and I did all these things. Like I put the lights, like we got mood lights. I got mood lights going around the entire thing. I'm very proud of it. Yeah. So if anything, I was like, well, we'll build this room. This will be nice. I've always wanted a studio that I could just turn on because Cryptic Dish was in there.
Yeah.
In the room, in my favorite room in there with the chess and the theater and all that stuff. And the only thing that sucked about that is there's like cables everywhere.
Yeah.
There's just stuff. So it kind of takes the room out of commission. So I wanted to build a studio that I could just go in, turn everything on, and it'd be done. So that's how we get here. So yeah, I do my interview with my father-in-law. I love it. I just get that. You ever talk to somebody and you like, and I've done this several times in here, but you get this really comforting feeling of like, it's not music, but kind of, it's like, this is really, I'm really thoroughly enjoying this.
Yeah.
So I got that, and I get that regularly on the show.
Yeah.
So that's why I knew like, I want to just do this all the time. So then as usually I do, I get obsessed and I go full tilt.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. So go full tilt, and then we start getting all these interviews scheduled. And I think we have interviews scheduled up through May, but I'll open it up for some more questions. But like so you do the same way in your creative process?
Oh, I mean, yes, I did not think Taser Girl would be where, I didn't think she would become what she is. Because, I mean, I started this not thinking it would just be fun to scare people. My dad does it. Ron Miller mentioned a gentleman named Apple. Apple is my father. And his character's name is Bone Creature. And he takes the tickets.
Oh, cool.
At the gate. So he started it first. And then I followed the following year. Because I had just had surgery when he started it. And I had cast on both legs. And I was like, well, I can be in a wheelchair. And that's really, when I started it, they put an old wheelchair out there for me to sit in, to wait. And it just kept growing. And then I started researching different actors and different haunt attractions. And it just blew up from there.
Yeah.
And then already liking Harley Quinn and being able to intertwine her into my character was very fun. But no, once I'm in something, I am in it for, and then I've ADHD, so I'm in it and then I'm out.
Shout out. Welcome to the club. Yeah. I think all creatives are just psychos. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
We're just balls of emotion.
And then I'm like you said, how you're in something and then you're just you get this feeling. And then when I'm in it, when I look like that and I got blood all over me, I'm like, am I okay?
Yeah, right.
But no, I get it. And I was like, so what's your favorite cryptic? Who was your favorite?
Oh,
cryptic?
Well, of course, Mothman, but I'm actually shooting a Mothman film this summer.
Nice.
And so I just think the Mothman has so much more lore behind him than Bigfoot or whatever. I mean, Bigfoot's great, but he's just the premonitions and every aspect there of how detailed the lore is what is fun to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd say Mothman, but I've learned just that there are so many cryptids in the world.
Yes.
And they all are true.
Yes.
So
yes, they're all true. I Mothman, of course, he's a fan favorite. I mean, it's Mothman. And living in Huntington, we're close to Point Pleasant. And I'll get out for work. I'll go to work early in the morning. I'm thinking, this is when you see weird stuff. This is when Mothman would come out.
Sure, yeah.
But,
we're gonna see him one day. Anna.
Oh, I know.
It's gotta happen.
Yeah. But
what about you? What's your fave?
I mean, Mothman, and I really like Braxy. I have a water bottle that's got pictures of all of them, stickers of all of them.
Oh yeah, Braxy is the coolest looking, I think.
Yes,
for sure. And shout out to Andrew with the Flatwoods Monster Museum for giving me this. But yeah, the coolest looking is probably Braxy.
Yeah.
The most potential to be Batman is Mothman to me.
Yeah. And living in Greenberg County, Batman is in Greenberg County. Batboy, Batman, Batboy is in the cave.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Until a guy, spelunker named Chris Collin came on and confirmed that.
Yeah.
That's the first time I didn't realize that Batboy was from.
I took him to Lost World, and
Nice.
I was like, Batboy was here.
Yeah. That's great.
But yeah.
Yeah, shout out Weekly World News, wasn't it? Or I don't know who first broke the Batboy story.
I don't know, but
yeah. Well, cool. So, as far as journalism goes, what do you love about, the story aspects of all this paranormal stuff?
I mean, I enjoy paranormal stuff, and with journalism, I've always enjoyed writing. Since I was little, just writing little stories and stuff like that. I'm a big advocate when it comes to people with disabilities and just really anybody. I mean, I want to get awareness out for people. I'm disabled. I have spina bifida. So words to me are very powerful, and being able to write and tell a story and to put somebody into a story, even if it's just like a little article about a haunted attraction that I visited, I want those people to want to go there and to experience what I experienced at that haunted attraction.
So that's beautiful. So, growing up with spina bifida, what was that experience like for you?
I am very lucky in the aspects of having spina bifida because it's different for everybody. My parents didn't know I was going to have it. So when I was born in March, and it's West Virginia, it can either be 80 degrees or it could be snowing. Well, that day they went to the hospital. It was warm when I was born. There was a blizzard. And them not knowing I have spina bifida, my spine was completely open, like it burst open, and I was born in Beckley. They had to get me to Charleston, so they opened one lane of the interstate from Beckley to Charleston. But growing up in general is hard, but just having spina bifida made it a little bit harder for me. But I'm very lucky. They told my parents I wasn't going to walk, and obviously I can. Doctors have put me back together so I can be independent.
Yeah, that's great.
So,
what is spina bifida for someone who doesn't know?
So essentially, my spine didn't close all the way. So I had nerve endings that were out and exposed. There's different types of spina bifida. There's some people that have it that don't even know it. They'll go to the doctor one day and the doctor will be like, hey, did you know you have this? They don't have any symptoms or anything. It's just something that they live with. But with mine, I have nerve damage. I've had to have several surgeries. And developing Taser Girl has helped me with that because people don't know. And just to be able to, people don't realize that this little disabled girl here is scaring the crap out of them.
Listen, what does disabled mean anyways? Like, it's like, I mean, you're doing everything you've ever wanted to do, right? I mean, obviously, it sucks, but at the same time, you've made the best of the situation, and it's something you've always known, and you know what I mean?
I always say you have to laugh or you'll cry, and I have to make jokes. I have to have like a self-deprecating sense of humor, or I would be miserable, and I don't want to be miserable in life. So you just got to make it what you can.
Yeah, that's why, and that, I make, broken pancreas jokes all the time.
Yeah.
And I'll go through drive-through and I'll get a drink and they'll say, is this diet? And they'll be like, yeah, it's diet. And I'll be like, are you sure? I'll die. And they're like, oh, maybe I should, give me that cup. Let me get, and because I've gotten so many times, especially in West Virginia, like when I was young, people would be shocked when this skinny kid would order diet drinks. And they'd be like, what are you doing drinking Diet Boy? And I'd be like, I'm a diabetic. And they're like, what? And it was a long time where people didn't know what that was.
Yeah.
Now it's like, I know about 4 of those that live around me,
Yeah.
But yeah, I've brought humor to it.
Oh, yeah. That's the thing. Like with me turning 30, people are like, oh, it's just downhill from 30. And I would make jokes, be like, well, I was born disabled. I was kind of down at the bottom.
Oh, man. Well, and here's the thing. Like, my best times has been 30 and beyond.
Oh, yeah. I was so excited to turn 30.
Yeah.
Like, I was ready just to get rid of the 20s and start a new decade.
We made it, Hannah. Like, we've got our cars repossessed. We've made all the bad decisions. It's time to all right.
It was really like, till I met this guy was like 20s, whatever, and then met him, and I was like, oh, the back half's pretty good.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
So, and I'll tell him too, like, I started Creepalachia to save up for my retirement, which is essentially buying robotic legs.
Nice.
So when the time comes,
like, I could use them too because I have to wear braces. So
yeah. So yeah, I totally relate to you there. All right. So next question.
Oh,
let's see. I'll kind of walk you through. So the goals for the show, I've had. For instance, I posted about having a witch on.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah.
I was going to ask about that.
Yeah. And there's a couple people that are like, because one rule is I don't want to talk politics.
Yeah.
Because in West Virginia, it never ends well.
Never.
It's never going to end well.
Nope.
You're going to upset people. You're going to take the whole reasoning for a political structure for me is to represent the people.
Yeah.
But we don't. It's very heated right now.
Yes.
I think everyone can feel that way.
Yes.
So I wanted this show to be open to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And that includes whoever you voted for. First off, I could care less.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with any of these stories. Yeah. And I just don't want it included. There's plenty of outlets people can go for that stuff.
Yeah.
So that was, one of the main goals. Another one was, and this is something I always heard in the coal mines, no politics, no religion on the radio. Because if you do, someone's going to get mad, this and that. Now, religion for me, it's actually very intertwined with all of these subjects because a lot of people rely on their faith for ways to get through certain situations or rely on their faith to give them an operating system on how they maneuver the world.
Yeah.
It's like I have a psychic on and he's also a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously the spiritualness of that is going to be intertwined with that story. And I think as long as you're not discriminating against people for things they can't change, as long as it's something that is positively benefiting you and guiding your life in a positive way, I'm all for it. I want to hear about it. I appreciate hearing the story.
Yeah.
But I posted this, that goes for everything. But I posted this about having a witch on, and there's a few people that's gone, I was like, nope, I'm not listening. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it. I even got calls. It's like, you're going to bring damnation on the family.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, no, here's I understand that you have learned one certain thing your whole life. I get that. I get why you're going to have reservations.
Yeah.
What the show is about is approaching these things without judgment. Mm-hmm. It's the same as if you came in here and told me yeah, Bigfoot actually drove me to this interview. I'd be like, oh yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just think it's such an intriguing and I guess provocative in a way, but interesting experience, everyone's individual experience. I've had people come in and say that are highly religious when it comes to, Christianity. And they said, I actually had a prayer team burn demons out of my home. And I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
We don't like demons. I think like we all can agree demons are mean.
Yeah.
That's why they're called demons. So it's like, yeah, I can get down with that. But at the same time, I'm going to have a witch come in and tell me about, you know, being a Wiccan and a pagan community and all of these different things, which, you know, to what I understand, paganism is not the typical belief in God as people see it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a lot to do with nature and different things like that. So
yeah,
I understand how someone, because I grew up old regular Baptist. By the time I left that 3-hour session, everyone I knew was burning in hell.
Yeah.
And that's just how it went.
Yeah.
You know, and that's, if that's their thing, that's great. My grandpa's a preacher. I love him to death. I'm not going to judge the way someone believes. It's only if you start discriminating against someone for who they naturally are is when I have a problem with it.
Yeah. I mean, I get that too with doing this stuff. I mean, people will say, well, that's just the gateway. That's just an opening. I'm like, well, I'm just scaring people. Like, it's not, I don't ever get a bad feeling about, I mean, that's something that I love. That's a character that I love. And it's a good, just, it's like therapy in a way to get out there and just like make people scream.
Sure. Yeah.
So,
well,
but yeah.
That's great. Oh, keep going. Sorry.
But no, it's just, I get it. And I try to keep, religion and politics out of Taser Girl as much as possible.
Yeah, that's you can do like a red and blue diamond. Like, all right, stars, put stars on. But yeah. So yeah. And at the same time, like I want to respect the people. Like, if you see a topic that you don't want to listen to,
just don't watch it.
Don't listen to it.
Don't listen to it. Don't watch it. Yeah.
Yeah, and all I ask is, you know, don't throw the show in the toilet.
Yeah. Just because of
this
thing.
one thing.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not asking you to not believe how you believe. This is the purpose of this show is to learn all of these experiences. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because really, you know, I think if something makes you a better person, I'm all about it. Yep. You know what I mean? And that includes witches. Yeah. You know, as far as I remember, we just watched Wicked. There's a good and a bad
There's a good and a bad. Yep.
You know what I mean? Which I didn't watch it. I can't even act like I know the plot line, but that's the way I understood it. But my wife loves it.
It's a great movie. I love it.
She's going around the house singing while she was vacuuming, and I caught a little video of her. I was like, oh yeah, I got it.
We went to see in theaters, and I left bawling my eyes out. I was like, oh my gosh.
Oh yeah. Oh, my wife's been defying gravity for like 2 months.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So it's just great. I need to watch it. My daughter loved it too.
I mean, you got time. There's a second part coming out. So.
Oh yeah, ain't there a few?
I think there'll only be 2.
Is there 2? Okay.
Yeah.
I have to check it out. So yeah, and that being said, like, you know, I've done some things like we'll stream horror games I'll play with my daughter and we'll play. I wanted to have something we could bond over because my daughter's learning video now and she's like, look at this, Dad. And she makes more videos than I do.
How old is she?
She's 10.
Nice.
Yeah.
Start him young.
Oh yeah. Well, I had her. I kind of, you know how some people are like, yeah, the daughter or son's going to take over the business one day. I'm going to teach them how they're going to be a coal miner. They're going to do this. They're going to do, you know, I try to avoid that. But I did have her like introduced to like a camera and a tripod, like 2 years old.
Yeah.
But she put it down. When she was about 7, she said, Dad, I want to learn to edit video. I said, okay, I'll show you. So I got her a program and showed her the process of filming. And I got her a little simple editing program I started to show her. And then she started yawning and said, this is boring. I shut the laptop. Sorry, we're done. She said, what? And I said, well, I don't want you to do this until you actively want to do it. I said, but I take it really serious. So storytelling to me is like, you really have to respect the craft and respect the interview subject and respect the story you're trying to tell and all this stuff. But I wasn't mean to her. I just said, when you're ready, like if you want to do it again, I'll show you. So eventually, like she got CapCut, it's called, which I think is a video editing thing for TikTok.
Yeah.
And she started just making videos. And I haven't said anything. She hasn't asked for help. She's very creative. She's very driven like her mom. And me, I'm driven, but she's smart like her mom, thankfully. But it's really amazing just seeing the creativity fuel the process. So she's doing it the right way now. Her passion is guiding her learning.
Yeah.
And she's trying new ideas and she's taking inspiration. So I think that's working out. But I'll still show her if she wants to know how I do it. But I don't think she's even going to need me at this point. But yeah, so that was reason to do this too, is like, you know, I want to do something to bond with her and, you know, just something enjoyable to talk about some creepy stuff.
Yeah, that was a big thing with my dad and I with him working at Miller's and me being there was at the end of the night when we're going home, we get to talk about all the stories that happened from that night. So it was a really good bonding experience.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's great. And, like we're watching Walking Dead right now. Some people will be like, what?
I love Walking Dead.
I mean, you know, I stopped after, so that's what inspired me to do this whole thing. But I stopped after season 6, after the Glenn stuff and Abraham.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's kind of mean. But Nora's wanting to like churn through it. So I'm going to give it another shot. I'm going to watch the whole thing. I'm going to watch all the spinoffs and all the stuff.
I've watched all of the original. Probably a little bit of hot take, but Negan was my favorite. See,
it was the opposite for me. I couldn't stand it.
I mean, at the end,
well, maybe there's an arc there, but I just felt like the overacting took me out of it.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Rick, what you doing, Rick? I got my baseball, you know. I just was like, my goodness, I can't do it.
I mean, there's a lot of people that stopped after Glenn died. But I get it. It was very hard to watch.
Yeah, it's pretty spoilers, by the way, for a 10-year-old show. I mean, they'll be all right. But you watching Last of Us?
Yes.
New season in April.
I know. I didn't play the game, so I have no idea.
Oh, no. So I watched a playthrough with PewDiePie, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
I watched the whole thing. I'm like, you know, I didn't know I would be 36 years old at the time watching, you know, 20 hours of gameplay of some random dude playing through this game. But I think that content is kind of on a story arc as well. Like eventually you have all these people barking at you for all these years. Eventually it's like, I just want to like watch some dude cutting grass and fast forward and go on with my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry, tangent.
No, it's fine.
And then has part of this show too. Like, I don't want any time limit. Like we've done 4 hours on here before about the Mind Wars.
Yeah.
And I just enjoyed every second of it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I like it. If y'all like it, that's going to be great. I hope to make it sustainable one day. Mm-hmm. But I make money doing other things. Mm-hmm. And that's what pay the bills.
Yeah.
If this thing makes 20 cents a year, we're still going to do it.
Yeah.
You know, and right now it's way negative. Like if we make 20 cents a year, that's a goal at this point. Yeah. Like a net positive 20 cents, that would be crazy.
Yeah. That's how with Taser Girl, she became something that I didn't think she was going to do. And I have a day job. I work for one of the hospitals in Huntington. But whatever, like, getting the opportunities that I have got with creating a character that I love so much and doing something that I love so much, I never thought was going to be possible. And I'll never take it for granted. And I'm part of like a bigger group of haunt actors that's like globally. And we're like representatives for the whole, like the state that we're in. So like I'm a representative for West Virginia. I'm not the only one. There's several in West Virginia. But I've had my own like kettle corn that I sold at Miller's a few years ago. There was a company that made kettle corn. You would like profit into it. You could buy like bulk and sell it after your haunt. And I did that for a year. I'm in a book. So you just got to take the opportunities that you're given.
Yeah, that's awesome. So there's like this whole Marvel Avengers version of haunt actors.
Yeah. There's this company called Scurry Face. And they do a haunt actor like contest for the last couple years. I entered it in 2023, and there was like 170 of us in it. I came in third.
Oh,
and
wow.
That was my first year I did it. And that was really like the year that Taser Girl blew up. And everybody would be like, where did you come from? Like I had been doing it for years. And I was like, well, I just wanted to give it a shot. And that is what took me out of my shell, because I was having to ask people for votes. I was having to post constantly. I remember my mom and we went to Pittsburgh of one week, and I was up to vote. I made little cards, and anytime I would meet somebody and be like, hey, you should vote for me. I was like going up to people, and I made posters that I would put up. Like we would stop at gas stations. I'd be like, hey, can I put this poster up? So I came in third that year, and it just kind of like snowballed from there, and just getting more and more opportunities come my way.
That's awesome. How did you, what did it feel like for you to start receiving that positive feedback?
It was very overwhelming. Yeah, I didn't know what to do with myself. And it was just like, I was just making TikToks and doing like live streams and that kind of stuff as my character. Yeah.
That's cool. Do you have any kind of goals with the videos, or do you?
Right now, like where I'm not acting, and I'm just visiting haunts, I would love to be like a decent reviewer because I have so many years under my belt, and just be not well known, but just to be like appreciated and noticed as a haunt reviewer.
That's a good way to put it, because I started noticing that, like I do, I do the show. I didn't really plan on looking at the following for a year. That didn't work out.
Yeah.
Because when you start to get that positive feedback of like, no, people really care about what you have to say, you're like, oh, yeah. I'm being vindicated.
Yeah.
Those years of thinking that I was a terrible son. Or whatever for, whatever issues that pop up. I have to figure out how to be more schedule oriented and not keep picking up the phone every 3 seconds and be like, I love it when people tell me that I'm a funny person.
Yeah.
I have good ideas. Like, calm down. This is great. I really appreciate the feedback. And if someone saw me out in public and recognized me, I'd love for them to talk to me, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But it's becoming to where, like, if I don't get it in check, it's going to crush my soul and my brain.
Yes. And I have been there.
Yeah.
Yes, I have been there. And when it was like everything was coming in at once, I was like, oh my gosh, it's happening. And then it just plateaus because I don't do the scare actor contest anymore. So that is done, and I don't act anymore. So I'm not seeing people at haunts, and I'm just me now going to these haunts. And yes, I've made friends and I've made connections and through that way. It's just how do you keep going once it really like slows down?
Sure,
and it did. Once it stopped, I like crashed. I was like, what do I do now?
Yeah. So you're not going to act ever again?
I'm going to guest act. There's a place in Huntington called 12 Pole Manor. And if you like haunted houses, you need to go to that one because it's spectacular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good to know. And too, like, this is like, I mean, listen, I'm small potatoes, but for me, like, any engagement is more than what I was receiving. Yeah. So it's like, I don't know, there's so much appreciation there. And I think, so like for me, I can't have backlogs. Mm-hmm. So I'm learning now because we're getting close to 100 comments a day, mm-hmm. and which is amazing, but I can't look at all of those because it'll take so much time.
Yeah.
so it's hard for me to put that stuff aside because I want to be interactive and I want to make sure like everyone's happy.
Yeah.
You know, and I want to find that one negative comment so I can rebut it with the perfect truth, you know, all this crap.
Yeah.
But so that I think that's where it's like, because I've never had a backlog. I can't let videos take time like commercially, and it's helped me build the business. It's helped me be productive.
Yeah.
But I gotta get better at just being okay with not looking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a very, very blessed problem to have.
Yeah, it is. And I had my biggest issue with it all was I would compare myself to other people to be like, why are they doing that and getting that? And when I've worked so hard, and it's like that kind of issue, and you just have to stop doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've done the same thing, not with Creepalachia, but before that, early on with my marketing business, I'd do the same thing. I'd be like, you know, I could shoot that better than they did. And then I'm like, shut up.
Yeah.
There's so much work for everyone. And these people are actually the people that I have most in common with, probably out of anyone in the region.
Yeah.
So it's like, what is that? You know? And so now I've kind of went into this, it's probably been about 6 or 7 years now. I go into this like, I'll be sure to comment on people's stuff. I'll be sure to donate where I can donate. I just really try to not a lead by example. Like not like I'm a leader, but I want to show my daughter like, hey, be a collaborative, useful person.
Yeah.
And yeah, you may have shot something better, but keep that to yourself because that's not really your job to critique. You're not the client. Yeah. If the client likes it, that's great. So that's kind of helped me.
And that's what I love about the Real WV is they love showcasing people that's around West Virginia. And just the talent that everybody has and how talented people are here that needs to get out.
Oh yeah. Let's talk about Real WV for a minute. So what is it for someone who has no clue, which most people in West Virginia are have seen articles, have read articles. It's been around for how many years?
I'm not entirely sure.
4 or 5 years,
I
think.
I think so.
But what's the goal of the organization? It's a media outlet,
It's
right?
a media outlet. Steve Baldwin runs it and owns it. I don't really know entirely that much about it. They just kind of like made me their honorary like spooky girl that would write spooky stories. But no, I believe their goal is just to like showcase people in West Virginia, the news in West Virginia, what's going on. And I think they do a really good job at it.
Yeah. It's been growing for quite a while. Do they have a list of freelancers they work with? A bunch of different
I'm not sure.
type of okay. Yeah. But yeah, so any other specific questions before I keep on babbling?
No, you're fine. What has been your favorite like feedback that you've gotten from somebody?
Ooh, that's a good question. It's more of an in general thing because the show really took off with the Natalie Cochran trial.
Yeah.
And it kind of put me into a corner of like, okay, this is great to report about. Obviously, it's a tragedy. What good can we bring from it? Which, got us into figuring out how to get legislation involving insulin murders, which they just passed a resolution that we're going to next week, which is really cool. It's for Michael Brandon Cochran, and we're calling it's in memory of Michael Brandon Cochran House Resolution. It doesn't necessarily have a name, I don't think, but the only bummer about it was the resolution is not a law, but I'm hearing from a lot of lawmakers like it's a really big deal for this to be the first year and then it be put as a resolution, especially in the current climate.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm very proud of that, but I kind of put myself into a corner of like, okay, well, I have all these people that have enjoyed the Natalie Cochran stuff. We're never, hopefully, going to have access like this again to a murderer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like to people involved, because all of these people are around me.
Yeah,
like they're neighbors.
Yeah, they're here.
Yeah, so they trust me, which they should, but it's hard to trust the media.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to have that access to fly people in. And, hopefully one day I hope to fly people in and have, dedicated staff to certain cases, but it's just not possible with the resources I have. So it's kind of figuring out like, well, how do I retain people? So I would say, and there are people retaining, but even still, I'd say probably 20% of the Natalie Cochran fan base love everything else, which is great. There may be some people that are like, they hate witches. Yeah. They don't want to listen to all this dark and spooky stuff, but they want to hear about a murderer and how they're going to pay for their crimes.
Yeah.
I get that. So it's kind of trying to bounce out and bring in true crime, but also other stuff. Like we're getting ready to do an abandoned property, an abandoned haunted property on-site location videos. There's another aspect of Creepalachia that's forming right now, which is dark tourism, historical facts of Appalachia, that people are really enjoying that haven't even heard of Natalie Cochran. So I would say now the Facebook following is probably 20% Natalie Cochran fans and 80% everything else. So it's trying to juggle that while also making the other people happy. And so the feedback, as far as the feedback question goes, I'll get messages, and this has happened. It's so crazy that this happens, but I think, I won't go to Charlotte and get recognized, but, I'll go out to eat and there's been places they'll come up, they'll shake my hand, say, I love the show. And I'm like, this is freaking crazy on not their part. Like I'm just so appreciative to be doing this.
Yeah.
But the love for the show, like people are commenting saying, I'm so glad you're telling these stories. I love the videos. Of course, they'll say, I'll get probably the best feedback is when someone says, I love your Natalie Cochran stuff, but I also am hooked on all this other stuff. I didn't realize there's all these other things you're talking about. So stuff like that just shows me it's a microcosm of, okay, this is working. How do I scale it?
Yeah.
And move it outside the region. So that's kind of what I'm working on now is like, I still want to keep the Appalachian roots, but with true crime, for instance, I've started doing solo stories about random trials in all 50 states because, I'll get feedback of people saying like, you're such a natural storyteller and stuff like that. And it's so crazy to me because I've always, I hear my voice and I hate it. I think that I'm friendly, but you never know. When I was growing up in school, I always felt like I was just such a dork and everyone else was doing things so much better than me. And why can't I just fit in and get these girls to like me? Why are they liking all the bullies? Why is, all this stuff that you do? And that low self-esteem, like I've had instances when I was young where I didn't take up for myself that have stuck with me my entire life, and this is kind of a way to combat that.
Yeah.
Of like, you know what? I am worth it and I can tell a story and I'm going to see if people can enjoy the same things I do. So, just the comments and the people coming up and, of course we're not the freaking Beatles here. Like it's not an ego thing. It's just people appreciating the work is crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm just so thankful. But, that being said, the show makes no money. So now I got to figure out how to like, okay, well, because I just invested, I don't know how much money into this abandoned property stuff, but I'm just going to keep on investing in it for years until it starts like, okay, like I have some plans for membership models, but I also want to build it in a way that, it'll be worth it to be a member, but also it's not going to take a lot away from the people who can't afford it, because in West Virginia, especially, they can't, some people can't afford $2 a month.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't want anyone who can't afford it to give to the show, but I want to set it up in a way to where they feel like they're a part of something cool and, not biased, not judgmental, only in the fact of telling unique Appalachian experiences.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Yeah. And that is a lot that really comes back to with me with Taser Girl is that it's like kind of like imposter syndrome when it really it's a lot like imposter syndrome. Yeah. That's my middle name. Same.
Yeah. I'm like, at any minute, the house of cards is going to fall.
Yeah.
People are going to be like, you know what? This show sucks. Like, if I keep the core value of the show, that's okay. But obviously it would hurt if everyone just all of a sudden unfollowed the show. I'd be like, what did I do?
Yeah. And I mean, I think it's great. I first with Ron, that was the first video that I saw. And then just like any other person, the true crime stuff, I was like, what the Natalie Cochran stuff, I watched all those videos and, but no, I love it.
Well, thank you. Thank you. See, so that's part of it too. Like with the Ron Miller stuff, like what, how did you find the show?
It just popped up. Like I was on Facebook and just like your page with his video just popped up.
Oh, cool. It was a suggested.
Yeah.
Nice.
It just popped up.
Something's going on with SEO because, we've had some videos popping off. Like I did a video about the Mothman chips.
I saw that. Yeah. Were they good?
They are.
Oh.
Yeah. I think they went with a safe flavor.
Oh.
But in a good way. Like it's a really good, I don't know if the way I describe it, there's this Lay's potato chip that's Southern, it's called Southern barbecue, Southern heat barbecue, I think is what it's called. It's exactly like that, but you add ridges and you make it a little less hot.
Oh, okay.
And it tastes, it's a little sweet. I love it. But the only thing is I think they did AI art.
Oh,
which I'm kind of, but I use AI art in my life, but I also don't sell chips.
Yeah.
But, nothing against you, Mr. B. Y'all do your thing. Maybe it's not AI.
Maybe not.
I don't know. But like I did that video and it got, it's up to like a few hundred shares in a day, up to 100,000 views. I'm like, well, who's watching this stuff? I'll look at the follower count and it'll like, I'll just say I'm addicted to it. I'm addicted to seeing the show work because initially I was like, this will work. If I follow the formula, I'll do the marketing world of how to do this and I stick to this format, it's going to work. And I didn't think deep down it actually was going to work, but it's slowly working. So I don't know what's going on. I'll go through the followers and I'll click on them to see if they're real. And it'll be like, this one from, Coal City, West Virginia, this one from, someplace in Kentucky, this one from, a lot from Beckley, so I'm like, these are real people.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
And that's exactly how I was when I was in that scare actor contest. It would show you at the end, like what state you got your most votes from. And there was some time, like when I would come up, there would be like Kentucky. And I was like, who are these people? Like, I don't know anybody in Kentucky.
Yeah. It's just cool seeing like-minded people.
Yeah.
Enjoy it. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But
I think it's great. I love it.
Well,
when I'm at work, I'll put my headphones in and just watch a whole episode.
Yeah. Well, awesome.
Okay. So what is like a typical day for you when you film an episode?
Sure. So it's basically like today, like for the interview shows, so I have a schedule that I sometimes don't stick to, but I'm trying to. So interview shows are usually on weekends, but I'll come in to the studio about an hour before the interview. I'll fire everything up. I'll, make sure my background's good. I'm sure people know this is a digital background. It's basically a TV behind me is all it is. But I thought it'd be a cool way to add customization to every episode. So I'll get everything working tech-wise, and then I'll make sure I can pronounce the person's name correctly, and I'll have an overview of what they do. Some I'll be more in depth than others, but I kind of go in cold, so I can ask it in I can ask questions in an aspect that I feel the listener is thinking.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. Because if they hear something for the first time, and I do, I'm going to try to zero in on what that question is that person's wanting to ask. The majority, anyway.
Yeah.
And it seems to work. It could be intimidating to try to learn all about the mine wars before Chuck Keeney, a huge historian in West Virginia, comes in to tell me all about there ain't no way I'm going to tell him something's right.
Yeah.
Like, oh, wait a minute. You got that wrong there. No, that's not what I do. I'm just reacting.
Mm-hmm.
And if I hear stuff like with you, I didn't really dive in because I wanted to have honest reaction. I didn't know you had spina bifida. So I think that stuff opens up really good moments that feel genuine, because they are.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my preparation for it. And then the person comes in, I always try to be joyful when they come. I like candles. I like I'll get like the caramel scents going downstairs, which I think I forgot to do today. Sorry.
That's okay.
But I
was just happy to see the cats.
Yeah. We got the cats. The cats are always a hit when they see that they're hairless.
Yeah.
So, and that gives me some feedback too. I want people to feel welcomed.
Yeah.
As you do in most Appalachian homes.
Yes.
It's getting a little guarded lately, but still, I believe the Appalachian spirit is there of welcoming someone, breaking bread, having a good conversation, being actively engaged in what they have to say, not just waiting to say something.
Yeah.
I try to work on that a lot. So yeah, I had that feedback of Amber Kidd. She, some of these things are really tragic, and she has lost her brother, AJ Sloan, and we're trying to find him.
Mm-hmm.
And she came in to do the show, and just done the whole process. And obviously it's a hard situation for her. We go through the story, we got done, and she said, I just want to thank you. Like, I feel really, really welcomed here and at peace and comfortable. And I was like, that's what we're trying to do. That's awesome to hear that.
Yeah.
So I feel like you don't want someone to come in and be all, in their shell. You know what I mean? Because obviously it's weird. You're going to some dude's basement in random that you've never been.
Yeah.
Obviously it's going to be weird, but we're going to work on building like a side entrance that people can, we'll put some signs up and welcome people. And, so yeah, that's kind of the process of a show. Now the solo stories are different. So I'll plan a day to film these, and I'll do like 90-second solo stories about, the Belo Grocery Massacre in North Carolina, or Sid Hatfield, or the Mystery Hole, different things. So I'll find the topic, and then I'll write the script, and so I can kind of memorize it. And on that day, I just come in by myself, turn everything on, run through reads, and then I'll go in after the fact. I'll trim the gaps in between to make it like have that TikTok flow.
Yeah.
And add some music, usually add some photos. I try not to get too heavy with the production value. Those short videos I can turn around pretty quickly with my skill set, add some captions to it, and then see what they do. So those are, I'll do them in bunches, and then I'll schedule them out throughout the day.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's basically it. Now the abandoned property stuff, I don't know yet. I'm going to show up with Adra We got a cameraman that I'm hiring named Seth Stone. I hate that he's going to hear this, but he's been a real good friend of mine for a while. I met him when I was filming at Mount View High School, which is where I went to school. He's like, hey, I want to learn how to do all this stuff. And now, like, I don't know, 7 years later, he's still doing, I don't know, it's probably 5 or 6 years. He's still doing productions with us. I flew him to California, so I got to be on the plane with his first plane ride. Nice. So seeing stuff like that's really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know how the abandoned property stuff's going to go, but the plan is we're going to get permission for these locations, get a bunch of DJI Pocket 3s, and just roll up and try to shoot some scary stuff.
Nice.
So yeah.
Yeah. I do. I stay away from real haunted stuff. I enjoy watching videos and watching YouTube videos of people going to these places, but like I've never been to the asylum. I want to, but it's just a little sometimes you just never know.
Yeah. That's probably the smart way to do it. To be honest, because everyone loves demons until they get it,
attached to them.
Yeah, all of a sudden there's a demon attached to me.
Yeah.
So, I got a really good contact list that if that ever happens, I'm going to call in the prayer rangers.
Yes, that's good.
And, do the whole thing.
Yes.
But we're going to Salem. May.
I would love to go to Salem.
Have you never went?
No.
Y'all are welcome to go with us. We got room if you want to go. It's a team retreat, but y'all can be part of it.
Oh, well, maybe.
Yeah. So we're going in May. And the team's awesome. But we're staying in the second most haunted Airbnb in the nation. Let me see what it's called. Haunted Airbnb Salem. It's got a name, and I'm going to give them a shout out here. Where is it at? Yep, here it is. So we're staying at, where's the name? Could it be in, oh no, we got ads, we got all kinds of stuff. Dead air alert. No. This is the house, but I'm not sure. There's a unique place to stay in Massachusetts. Time Out has 11 most haunted Airbnbs. All right, I'm going to scroll down here and find this. This is not, okay, different site. We got Henry Derby? Yes, Henry Derby. Chase coming in clutch, ice in his veins. Henry Derby house. Yeah, that's where we're staying. So, anyway, I'm going to do, there's this thing called the Estes method.
Oh, yeah.
Where I put the thing on and then I repeat it. So we're going to make a little video out of that.
Yeah, there is a YouTube channel. They're Sam and Colby.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you like Sam and
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll ask you some feedback. So the goal for the show is Sam and Colby mixed with, there's this other show that has this guy named Jeremy that he did that P. Diddy's house. I can't think of what it's called, but he just basically goes in at night, stays at these abandoned properties. Mm-hmm. And his production value, I really liked. I want to combine these two things, and I'm going to find his show so I can give a shout out because I like Sam and Colby, but I feel like, let's see, it's almost a little too story heavy for my taste, but also it's great.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to find a happy medium for our style for the show. So what do you like about Sam and Colby? I've been
intel. Watching them for years. And I've just always been a fan of them. Like I have their merch. They recently had a movie come out and we went to go see it. It was about skinwalkers. And then that freaked me out because being outside and then we went to go see it. And then it was the next weekend we went to the Milton corn maze. Mm-hmm. And I was like, we're in a dark corn maze. And I just saw a movie about skinwalkers. And that freaked me out.
That's cool. Yeah, they're great. And they got a good story too. They just started making videos and was like, hey, I'm going to drop out of college, Mom. And they're like, if you can show me you can make money.
Yeah, they're just best friends and making videos. Yeah, I love them.
Yeah, so that's kind of the aspect. I'm going to try to do one a month, and that's kind of a new aspect we're going to bring in and see how it does.
Yeah.
Because I want to bring in other fans to be like, oh, that you mean they do interviews? They do this?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to be Mr. Ball and Sam and Colby, and this other channel's Jeremy Explores.
Okay.
If y'all like abandoned property videos, he does a really, really good job.
You'll have to check him out.
Yeah. So I want to combine Jeremy Explores with Sam and Colby and do this series. And we'll see what happens, but very excited about it.
Yeah.
All right. So let me show the screen here so people will know. Jeremy Explores here. Oh, let me turn that down. So yeah, he's got 363,000 subscribers. He's going to continue to grow way more than me. I got 3, but I'm proud of that 3.
Yes, be very proud of that 3.
Yeah. Well, and we got to 3 in 3 months.
Nice.
So that's pretty
That's
awesome.
great.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions? What we got?
Look here.
This will be the one interview that I do where I talk about all things me, but also all things Taser Girl.
What has been your favorite story, or have you done your favorite
Ooh.
story yet?
So this is a good question. I find favorite things in all of them, and that's not just to be generic. But
What has been the story that has got you hyped the most as you're researching it, editing it, shooting it? Which
Sure.
one has got you the most excited?
Yeah. And this sounds bad, but obviously the investigation aspect of the Natalie Cochran stuff obviously has been not rewarding. I don't know. It's I can't believe all of this stuff is true.
Yeah.
And you just keep on unraveling all of this craziness. But there's other things too. We had tarantulas make babies in the studio, and then I interview the guy who does this for a living. So it's we actually pulled this off, and I just found out that worked, and they're on a sack, as they call it. So I'm like, all right, call me uncle. This is great. So that's cool. But hearing just people that come in and they're such good storytellers. Like you was talking about the asylum. Copperhead came in, who's been a tour guide with them for 9 years, I think, total.
Yeah.
And it was just so intriguing hearing about the ghosts hunting process and the equipment that goes into it and his experiences. And, I believe everyone, I'm not even I'm not going to be a skeptic. I'm oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm going to, at least during the conversation, I'm going to believe you, and we're going to talk about it as if this is real, because it's your experience.
Yeah.
So that was fun. And like I mentioned, the Mine Wars, 4 hours of the Mine Wars is kind of tying in all of my lives. I've kind of lived 3 lives together. So hearing about that stuff was great. Interviewing my father-in-law is something that's always going to be on record. It's always going to be able for my daughter to listen to. So that stuff's cool. But it's hard. I mean, every one of them has something beautiful about it. I mean, there's a lady that came in that told me about this terrifying time when her daughter wrecked a bicycle in a ravine.
Oh.
And her daughter somehow was carried out of the ravine, and she woke up on the ground outside of it.
Oh, wow.
Waiting on everyone, hearing about that stuff. Or one of my really good friends, Matt Deal, came in and told me about this morning that him and his friend watched 3 orbs go around his room for 4 hours.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is amazing, So just the things that come out of these conversations is my favorite. It's I love going in green, and it hasn't failed yet. Not doing much, I take people for their word, and I have them write me a synopsis of what they're wanting to talk about. And if they write good, I think they'll talk good. I don't know what they sound like. There's no kind of qualifications to be on this show. It's if you have a story related to this topic, email creepalachia@gmail.com, message me on the Facebook page. We'll figure it out. So I'm just going to keep on running it like that. So yeah, I love them all in ways, but I probably pick my father-in-law's the first interview. That'd be the one that's like closest to me, obviously, because my daughter being able to listen to it. And
Have you ever had a paranormal experience?
Me, not really, but I've had a lot of experiences where things happen and it's so weird, the timing.
Mm-hmm.
And the one that comes to mind involved me working at McDonald's. And I worked at McDonald's for a year and ran the register. I'm telling you, that was the hardest job I've ever had. The hardest job I've ever had. And I got paid $5.15 an hour to do it. And not only that, if someone rats on you for cleaning the bathrooms wrong, so like I'd kind of cheat. I'd go in there, I'd take the Windex bottle and I'd be like, I ain't cleaning that. And then I'd spray the urinal just down.
Yeah.
I'd spray a whole thing of Windex on it just to make it clean-ish.
Yeah.
And so I'd do that stuff. And then, one of the managers, I mean, it was so cutthroat, but a lot of great people too, but there's a lot of cutthroat in minimum wage jobs.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's cutthroat people everywhere. But for me personally, the main cutthroatest of my life was when I worked for McDonald's and when I worked for Walmart. So this is McDonald's. So they said, JD didn't clean them bathrooms right. So what do? They cut my hours from 30 to like 10 the next one. And I asked the manager and I'm like, why are my hours cut so hard? She's like, and she blasted me in front of everyone up front by the register. She said, you didn't clean them bathrooms. You ain't going to work here. You ain't going to, we're not going to give you hours to not do your job right, to this and that, blah, blah, blah. Now, granted, maybe it was my fault a little bit for not doing a good job, but I done my job. I done my money's worth. Yeah. Trust me. But even still, she cut my hours. So I decided I'm going to quit this piece of crap job. And so I went and I did an interview with Walmart. And I did the interview, whatever, didn't hear anything. They said, hey, we'll let you know. So fast forward, it was like 2 months later. I'm at McDonald's, and when they really had to tell you, like, get on you, they'd take you out by the dumpsters.
Oh.
So the manager was like, all right, JD, we got to go out here and talk. So we went out and talked, and, she's this and that. And she's like, I'm just tired of your attitude. I'm tired of you and your face being here, like looking like you don't want to be here. I'm tired of your attitude. I just don't know the future I see for you with this organization. And I'm thinking, like, this lady needs to get off her high horse. Yeah. What are we talking about here? Now, no disrespect to any jobs, minimum wage jobs. You got to do what you got to do. Yeah. But listen, there are power trips out there, and this lady was on one.
Oh, yes.
And I said, you know what? I quit. I said, I ain't got to take this. What was I going to do? I don't know. The whole check went for my car payment.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I worked there. So I was like, I'll let my car go back. What do I do? So I said, I quit. She said, good. Turn in your badge. You don't have to turn in your 2 weeks. I don't care when you leave. I said, fine. So I marched back in. Phone rings as soon as I go in McDonald's.
Was it Walmart?
It's Walmart.
Nice.
I pick up the phone. I didn't even put their number on there.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
And it's Walmart. And she said, hey, you applied for this job, so-and-so. Just want to let you know, like, we'd love to move forward. Here's your training day. And I'm sitting there listening on the phone. I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
So I've had things like that where Lego blocks have just lined up my entire life. Yeah. I've been so gifted in that aspect. Yeah. And I don't know why. Yeah. So that's probably, and I have things about when I was a kid, like I woke up one morning or one night. The most memorable thing was I was in my bed and I wake up and I see like stereotypical ghosts, like in sheets, flying around the room in a circle.
Mm-hmm.
And I screamed, and my whole family got up. And this is one of the few times before my parents got divorced that I remembered us actually being a family. Like, my mom is amazing. My brother's amazing. My dad is an awful person. But even still, he was up. This is one of the times everybody got up. We all went in the living room. My mom held me. I was probably 3 or 4 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And we stayed up. We just stayed up. We didn't have no time limit. School was, or preschool or daycare or whatever, people had to work the next day. No one mentioned any of that. And they were just comforting me.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what that was, but I can figure probably what happened is, during my DMT dump of dreams,
Mm-hmm.
I opened my eyes and saw the fan running.
Yeah.
Is probably what happened.
Maybe. Yeah.
And got terrified. But yeah, so that one was weird, but it's mainly just coincidences that are like, there's something to that.
Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah, I believe so, yes. So I grew up around Quinwood, and then my parents and I moved to the Smoot area in Greenbrier County. And that house is actually my dad's like childhood home. And when they moved out of it, my great-grandparents moved into it. Well, they had passed away, and it was within just like a couple months, maybe just a couple weeks, I don't remember. I had gotten up, and I was in the kitchen, and I was doing something, and all of a sudden, I just hear, "Thank you, girl." And it sounded like my grandpa. And it was to the point where I heard it, I said, "Huh?" Like, I thought it was like my dad. And I realized nobody else was awake. Like, it was like distinct of like, "Thank you, girl."
Wow.
Yeah.
Did it freak you out? You like,
I mean, you can tell being in that house, or at least I can tell with being in that house, that my grandpa, his spirit is still around in there. So it didn't really freak me out. It was just kind of like, oh, okay. But I know that at least my grandpa is still there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that's comforting to me?
It is. Yeah, me too.
You know what I mean? And energy is a thing. I mean, if there's one thing I believe in, science tells us energy never dies. It goes somewhere. And the feelings we have when we're like, even just a feeling, you can look at somebody and know like there's something off.
Mm-hmm.
Or sometimes you're wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Or you're comforted. Or like the tension. When you feel a tension, a tense moment, you're like, this is physical. This is a physical thing. Yeah. Where does all that stuff go when you die?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, several people, that's when you get into the religious aspect. Yeah. Several people have different interpretations of this, which I think it all comes from something. So even just like, I remember when and I do it now, if you walk up a dark stairway and you feel something, like, is that your placebo fear?
Yeah.
Freaking you out? Or is that like, you better get up them steps?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And there's been another time too, like my bedroom in that house was always kind of cold, like more likely one of the colder rooms in the house. And I was sleeping and I woke up and we had there's baseboard heaters in there, and I turned them off. Like, they're not on. And I wake up and my room is hot. So I get up and I ask my parents, did you turn the baseboard heaters on? I smelled burning. And both of my parents got up and the knob, they weren't on. And to me, that was with feeling that my grandpa was there, I feel like he might have turned those on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those old people love it at 85.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm getting that way. As my nerves continue to die each year, it gets colder and colder in this freaking place, man. But I'm going to stay as long as I can. But yeah, I'm getting the same way. But I still though I gotta have it cold enough to wake up with a sore throat.
Oh yeah, I love a cold. A cold room's the only way to sleep.
Yeah,
but, yeah.
Oh man! All right, other questions.
I probably should have started with like, where are you from? Like, where did you grow up?
Yeah. So, I was born in Ashland, Kentucky, King's Daughters Medical Center.
Nice.
And I stayed there until 5th grade. And my parents got divorced. And my mom pretty much had to start over. So she was a waitress at Bob Evans for 9 years. And, not going into too much detail, but they had a bad relationship. And it was time to get divorced. And thankfully that happened. And so she had to start over. So her family, she grew up in Welch, West Virginia. So we moved to Welch, which is about a 4-hour drive from Ashland. New place. And I spent, thankfully we moved there. I mean, I loved Ashland. I miss my friends. I think people can grow up pretty much anywhere, but Welch was it's a lot different for me. It introduced a lot of things into my life that I didn't realize were a thing, which is poverty. Now, we were poor, but we weren't poor because we had a family. Mm-hmm. Like my great aunt gave us her house essentially for years, which saved our lives pretty much. We didn't have no other options. My mom went back to school, got her degree, which is so impressive to me. She was probably about my age now, probably a little younger. And she got her degree, started working for the Social Security office, and that's just was life. And we got up until my aunt ended up selling that house. So we moved in with my grandparents, which was a very special time in my life because, it's one of those things you don't know you're broke. You know that your family is everything and that's all you needed. And they always let me have sleepovers with friends. And it was just Belcher Mountain in Welch was one of the coolest places to grow up because I get on my bike, I go ride miles. You wouldn't see a person. You go hit these trails. It was an awesome childhood. Eventually we got our own house on Stewart Street, which was right next to the bowling alley, and grew up there. And, I rebelled from diabetes for several years of my life. My sugar was awful. And I regret doing that, but thankfully I made it through. I rebelled a lot on my mom. I treated her like crap a lot of times. I set her vacuum on fire in the backyard.
My goodness.
Just because I was just goofing around. I tried to drag the couch out there. I would have set it on fire. I don't know why I did that. And mom got home and was like, why'd you do that? And I'm like, I don't know. So I don't know what I was battling.
Yeah.
I didn't do it out of meanness. It was just like, let me see what this vacuum does when you pour lighter fluid on it and set it on fire.
Yeah.
And then it would melt. Like, that's what they do. And I set my bass guitar on fire. And I don't know why I did that. I stuck it headstock first in the yard, set it on fire. And guess what? It catches on fire eventually. Yeah. You got to put a lot of fluid on those because of the paint and all this stuff. But, so yeah, I dropped out of college twice. I got a Pell Grant and bought a car hood. Dropped out. I got student loans that I didn't need to get for like 3 weeks of college. And I dropped out of electrician school. I was in a 9-month electrician program in Princeton, West Virginia, and I dropped out on month 8th because my buddy said he could get me a job hauling coal. And thankfully, I got that job. And I learned to drive a coal truck, which is one of the hardest things you can do. Mm-hmm. And they give you a month to learn it. Mm-hmm. And I failed my first test. So it was like, if I fail the second test, they're going to fire me. And what am I going to do again? Here I am. But thankfully, they brought me on. I was making $40,000 a year. It was my first big boy job. I was driving all the way to Boone County. But I thought, here I am. I've arrived. I'm paying my bills. And so then I started doing that. And then burnout happened. Burnout in a coal truck happens at about month 6. Then you're like, this is what life's going to be forever. And and which is fine, but for me, in my irresponsible ADHD brain, it wasn't fine. Creative brain. It was like you're putting a creative spirit in a cage, saying, stay in that cage. So I worked my way up. I went to Coal Mountain and I said, I got to get on, like the big job was heavy equipment. You get on heavy equipment on a strip job, you're making big money. You got all the benefits. Heck yeah, you can buy 2 packs of cigarettes a day if you wanted. Because I used to smoke, but I quit. So I lied. They said, have you drove a rock truck? I said, yeah, I've drove a rock truck. And if you don't know what a rock truck is, the one they put me in is as big as this house.
Yeah.
And you're way higher than this house. You're like, I don't know, 20 feet in the air in this little cab. And then the right side of you is about 120 feet. I can't remember how wide a 785 was, but that's the truck they put me in. And they said, okay, get up there and test. And basically a rock truck, it's an automatic, which is great. So you throw it in 7, put the pedal to the floor, and you see what happens. And you're bumping and you're driving and you're in this big thing. And you're like, what am I doing? How is this legal? So, yeah, they just put me in it, say, all right, now you got to back up over this valley fill, which a valley fill is somewhere where these trucks back up and they dump this rock. And there's hundreds of feet, can be at times, that go straight down. So the first haul that I ever had to do is you pulled and you had to back up about, I don't know, it's probably about 500 feet down this 1-lane road. And when I say 1 lane, it's as wide as this house, but your truck's as wide as the house. So it was really tight. So you got to back up and you got to turn into this dozer next to the dozer and you got to dump everything. So I never drove one of these freaking things. And I'm backing up doing this, acting like, yeah, here we go. I make 2 hauls. I get down. They said, when can you start? I was like, yes. So I got hired on $15 an hour. And I was a contractor. So the way union contracts work, contractors can only haul coal. So I hauled coal on a 777, never got the rock. Well, eventually they had me picking up garbage every day until I was laid off. So I got laid off and I was like, well, I got to think of something else. Maybe I'll go back to school. It's about 5 months later. That was about 3 months later. It's one of them things too, where I was like, what am I going to do? I get a call out of the blue at my buddy's house because I was going up there every day, like sleeping on his couch, like, man, I'm so depressed. And they called me and asked me if I want to come back. So I came back, I done that, and I kept on staying on them to go union. Because when you go union, that's when all the good stuff kicks in. So eventually I hounded him. And to be union, it was 3. And I know you asked me where I grew up and it turned into all this, but this all is all related.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, but to be union on that job, you had to run 3 pieces of equipment. I could only run 1. So I just kept telling him. Well, one day I was hauling dirt and I got the 777 caught in a berm. And a 777's the size of this truck. It's a little bit smaller. It's about 90 feet wide, I think. And when you get a truck tire that's taller in this room stuck in a berm, if you keep on pushing the gas when you're stuck, it keeps pulling you over the hill. So I kept doing that and realized, I have to stop. So the boss came down there and was like, well, can you dump it? And I just acted all big and bad. I was like, yeah, I can dump it. So I hopped up in there. I dumped it and it could have went really bad. Truck could have went over the hill, could have got hurt. But thankfully, it just dumped it and moved on. So he used that as me having enough guts to be able to do this for a living. And he vouched for me. His name's Bronco Barnett. He vouched for me with the boss at Bluestone to bring me on union. Brought me on $26 an hour, 100% insurance, more money than I was ever making in my life because we had 20 hours overtime every week. I was like, yes. So, and then fast forward, I hated my life.
Yeah.
Wanted to make a zombie film. So that catches you up completely. But yeah, Southern West Virginia always will be for sure.
Yeah. So you mentioned you have ADHD. That is a huge thing. about me. When you were younger, did you think that you had it? Like, did you get like diagnosed, or was that just like something that was going on?
I'm undiagnosed, but I know that's what it is. And the reason being is I've never been able to pay attention in anything I didn't care about.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
That's why I sucked at school.
Mm-hmm.
I had to carry boxes to pass trigonometry in 12th grade or I wouldn't have graduated.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, my last name started with a B, so that put me right up behind the honors.
Yeah.
I didn't have to sit in the back, but no. They did alphabetized after the honors.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know I've always had it, and I know I have it now, and it flare-ups all the time. And the reason being is when I get my mind on something, I can't remove it.
Yes.
From my head. It sits there and it pounds.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, here's what you need. And it helped me create JJM because it was the same way. Like, I'm full tilt. I know the path. I'm going to do this. This is all I'm going to do. I'm going to do this until, either it's done or I explode and about have a mental breakdown.
Yes.
Thankfully, I haven't really had a breakdown. I just have a moment where I got to just set. And I'm like, I don't know. It's like the headers blew out of your motor or something.
Yeah.
It's like you're just sitting there like, oh, I'm so exhausted mentally.
Yeah.
So yeah, just because of the hyper focus stuff and not being able, it's hard for me to understand what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Unless I'm like zeroed in of like, this word, that word, this word, that word, and these words form a sentence. This sentence forms a story. So it's hard for me there. My short-term memory is not good.
Mm-hmm.
It's awful. I'll like right now I'm thinking of 4 other things.
Me too.
Yeah. I'm just sitting here like, oh yeah. I think I'm going to, check that Osmo out and make sure the memory cards are good. Like just random stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I think recognizing it and knowing is part of battling it. It's like, they say crazy people don't know when they're crazy. So that I kind of tell myself that of like, this is a problem. So keep on knowing and keep trying to do things to counter it. Yeah. Be there for your family. I want to be there for my family, but I'll be sitting there and I'll drift into la la land when I should be watching a soccer game or, there's different things like that I know I have something.
Yeah. When I was younger, I got diagnosed with ADD, but there was always something like internally I felt. So then when we met and we had been together for a while, he was working at Virginia Tech. And
boo, get out. No,
boo.
I'm kidding. Oh, they paid the bills. That's right. Yeah.
They paid the bills.
Yeah. Hey, Virginia Tech saved Nugget upstairs. Best veterinarian clinic.
Yes, it is.
Dead serious. Good school. Good time.
Yep. Yeah, I can't. But
yeah.
at a Mountaineer game, Hokies can go somewhere. But yeah.
So
great vet school.
I moved down there with him. We were living on Virginia Tech's campus.
Right.
Like with the students. And I wanted to just try school. Like I never went to college. So I went to the community college down there. I didn't go to tech. I was never going to do that. I went for 4 months. But I got diagnosed while I was there, like in school. So I went most of the first semester without any medication. So I get the diagnosis, I get the medication, and I was sick. Like it physically made me ill, and it made me feel like my brain was vibrating. Like I was not operational with medication. And once I got off of it, it's like something clicked in me. And I have always said, with being disabled, with being neurodivergent, with having ADHD, you have to give yourself grace. And it's hard, but it's manageable.
Yeah.
And I'm always a proponent for medication if you need it. But my biggest thing has always to give yourself grace, because we're not we're not normal. I mean, we're normal, but we do have challenges that we have to overcome.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's like, that's a good way of putting it. It's like you're a jet and you can turn on the afterburners but you can't turn them off unless you actively work at it. Like for me, I know working out helps. I try to get scheduled of getting up in the morning, working out, get my brain off stuff. I know this phone is killing it. Like I gotta get this in check because it's I don't know if it's endorphins or what. It's depleting my system of something.
Yeah. And that's just in general with social media these days. Like I feel like that is with everybody. Like social media is just toxic.
It really is. Yeah. But when you have ADHD, you can be like, when I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like scrolling forever. Yeah.
But it's hard but it's manageable.
Yeah, like you said, I've never tried the medication route, but different things work for different people. Yeah. So it's like really take it serious. I probably should get a diagnosis. I know.
And then not everybody needs a diagnosis. I needed it because I'm in a therapy that the therapist is knowledgeable on ADHD and neurodivergency to learn, just to basically unlearn how your brain was operating and to teach it how to operate being not neurodivergent.
Sure.
And that has helped me tremendously.
That sounds awesome. Because I need, I don't know if it's cognitive behavioral therapy or something to help me because I can narrow down the problems. I just can't actively work at sticking to the solution. Like I know the solution, but at the same time, maybe I'm aiming too high. Maybe I need to aim a little lower and like, okay, well, don't pick up your phone 100 times, pick it up 80 times, So just work my way down and then see where it goes. But yeah, that being said, I also think it can be a gift because it really has helped me do everything I've been able to do. Yeah. But too much in the red, the motor's going to blow eventually. So.
I mean, it's either we go. We either stop it or our bodies will make us stop.
Sure.
Like there's no. And that, I mean, I am so thankful that Halloween and haunt acting has been a hyperfixation that has not went away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. More questions.
Let's see here.
This is fun. I hope people enjoy it. Maybe they turned off. It's like, man, he spent 17 minutes on McDonald's. I'm turning this off. But I feel like they're intriguing stories.
So besides doing this, what other hobbies do you have?
Golf is it. It's going to be weird this year trying to juggle both because to be honest, this is kind of a hobby that's slowly turning into a second job. But I had a regular golf schedule last year. I try to play every day. I have a little simulator and try to keep my swing going over the winter, but golf would be that. And then other than that, being with family type stuff, chess.
Nice.
I'm learning. I'm really green at it. But Creepalachia on chess.com if anyone wants to challenge. But yeah, so I really enjoy chess when I can have. That's the thing too, is like it'll help my brain. Like, yeah, I really love hearing the pieces hit the wood, and like it's like a whole comforting thing. I mean, it's supposed to be a tense game, but for me, knowing that I suck at it, I just enjoy the process.
Yeah. Well, going back to haunted attractions, have you been to any of the ones that are around here? Do you like them? Do you like to be scared?
This is going to be bad. I haven't been to the ones on the show, but we plan on doing some videos at these places.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, if they'll let me. Ashley, Ron, if you're listening, I'd love to bring Adra and then us do some shows when we get this stuff going of going through these haunts. But yeah, I've been through them. I've been through some really solid ones. I think one was in Morgantown. I can't remember. It's either Morgantown or in Tennessee, but there's this one, I don't know, contraption that they built that feels like you're walking. I don't know how else to describe
Like
this.
a vortex tunnel?
No, I can't do those. Oh my gosh.
I can't either.
Yes, I have no equilibrium. Like,
yeah.
I think the diabetes has fried my ability to like go on roller coasters, and like as I get older, I get motion sick so easy.
Yeah.
A vortex tunnel will tear me up for the entire
Yeah,
day.
I have, when we go through them, I'm like bury my face into his back and he just like carries me.
Yep. The thing I'm talking about is like you're walking through this. It's like there's rubber walls or something, and it tightens up.
Oh, okay.
It keeps tightens. It
Yeah, I know what
tightens
you're
up
talking about.
all the way to the end. You just keep on pushing through.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And we done that, and that was a little freaky. My wife hated that. She said, "I will never again in my life." But it was fun. It's cool seeing all, being a filmmaker, like seeing all the love that goes into the different themes and stuff like that. I fully plan on immersing myself. I'm such a hobbit, like such a homebody.
Yeah.
I need to like I like people, but in
Doses.
small portions.
Yeah.
Like if there's 100 of you, I don't want to go there.
Yeah.
If there's one of you that have a cool story, or 3, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to work on that because I know you're missing out on a lot of things. So part of the videos, I want to get out and experience more of this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, we went to, how many did we go to last year?
7 or 8.
We went to 7 or 8 last year. We started at the end of September. There's one in North Carolina called Woods of Terror. It's my favorite. There's like how many haunted houses you walk through? There's a lot,
14.
like 14 different houses you walk through. It takes like over an hour.
Wow. Where at in North Carolina?
Greensboro.
Do you know the owner?
Yes.
Can you get him on the show?
I can try.
That would be awesome. I'll pay him. Be
yeah,
here.
I can try.
That would be awesome.
But I maybe, hopefully that's the plan, is to guest act at this one this year. I would love to, just to have that opportunity because I love it so much. Like they put so much work into it. Their actors are so good. They treat their actors so good. And then 12 Pole Manor is really good in Wayne County. It's like phenomenal.
I haven't heard of that one. I have to look it up.
It's so good. You wouldn't think this. It's literally in downtown Wayne. And
I have to write these down.
It's in a house, like in a neighborhood, in a house. And their detail, their decorations is incredible.
So we got 12 Pole Manor, and then
Woods of Terror.
Woods of Terror. Yeah, we'll definitely reach out to these people. Trying to get Lake Shawnee on. I got a contact that's going to help me. Which I don't know if they necessarily set up a haunt, but
I think that's just
like an attraction.
Like real stuff.
Yeah.
There. But, and we went, I went to Miller's last year, walked through that. I went through Fright Nights last year. We went to, there's one, what was the one in Kentucky that we went to?
Fallsburg.
Yeah, Fallsburg. That was pretty good. Huntington really gets into Halloween.
Majestic.
Oh, and also Haunted Majestic in Huntington. It's on a barge.
I didn't know all these existed. Haunted Majestic.
It's on a barge on the Ohio River.
Okay. Do you know those owners?
Yes.
You know all the owners. Perfect.
Yes.
Tell me the backstory of Haunted Majestic. It's right up his alley.
It's haunted.
Is it really
Yeah,
haunted?
it's really haunted. Like the barge it was like an old World War II like medical barge thing.
Oh,
and they
wow.
do actually like haunted tours as well.
Oh, definitely check that out then.
Yeah. That one is more like kid friendly, like kid, but it's so unique.
Adria, if you're listening, we're going to be busy. Because it's going to be a busy fall. I wonder if we can get early access or something.
But no, there's so much fun. And like if you go to Miller's this year, they put so much work into it. Like from being a person from pretty much the beginning, up until recently, they put so much work into that place.
Yeah.
And yeah.
That's great.
Yep.
Heck yeah. Questions.
Let's see here. I didn't really have that much because I wasn't that prepared.
Oh no, you did great. Yeah.
Let's see.
You just tell me when to stop. I'll keep yakking all day. I'm sure there's some random person out there that's like, whoa, yeah, I'm sticking through to the end. This is a marathon.
So who or what inspires you the most in like professional and personal?
Okay. I have many answers to this. So Anthony Bourdain is the most famous inspiration that I don't know personally at all, but we was on Parts Unknown West Virginia, and I actually worked on that show.
Oh, nice.
So the way he approaches storytelling, I think is a way that I want to with this show, because he doesn't do it from a judgmental aspect. Like he came into West Virginia, they won an Emmy on a show. He came in as a Trump-hating liberal, which he calls himself that. Yeah. And made the most beautiful story about West Virginia ever, and was so respectful.
Yes.
So that, and then Elaine and Curran Sheldon, who Elaine directed Heroin and Recovery Boys, and I met her early on in my filmmaking journey when I just had a GoPro Hero 2 as a camera. She made a documentary called Hollow that featured my family in McDowell County, and has always been so nice and helpful. And really, her and Curran have answered any question I've ever had. They've been mentors to me throughout my entire career. And Curran helped me have the confidence to quit my day job. So, which basically I'd be like, man, I'm thinking about quitting. He's like, yeah, man, quit it up, man. It'll work. It'll work out, because that first leap is very scary. But if you know what you're doing and you have a goal and a vision in mind, and you're willing to do anything it takes, legally to make it happen, then it will. You don't ever fail until you quit. So he helped me do that. But other than that, obviously my mom is a huge inspiration. She had to start her life over, which is kind of what I did around the same time. And, she's always been caring and loving and supportive of any of this crap I've ever did. She didn't even really yell at me when I melted her vacuum to the back porch. So yeah. And, my wife, I couldn't do any of this without my wife, Jenna. She, if you don't have a partner that's willing to believe in your stupid ideas, to believe in something that sounds crazy on paper, if you don't have that support, then ultimately your relationship, I believe, will fail. Yeah. So her having the ability to be so driven and so thoughtful in her own career path, which I've supported as well, and also allow me to branch out and do things that could have failed. Us having our own drive there, but to be able to go along this life together made this whole thing possible. If that didn't happen, I couldn't have done it. And I'm very glad she decided to procreate with me, because she is an amazing, smart, obviously we fought like cats and dogs, like anyone does, but, her and Nora are my best friends. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind. Yeah. And I always make a point to tell Nora, like, you're my best friend other than your mommy. Like, I make sure to let her know, like, I love you. I'll step in front of a train. I want you to also know that I love your mom in the same way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's, I don't know if it's cliche, but that's probably career and life wise. Those are it.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's with him. My end goal with all the haunted stuff is to eventually have my own. And he's like, yeah, let's do it.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
And I've gotten him into it like before we met. I mean, he liked Halloween, but he didn't really go to haunted houses. And now he's like going everywhere I want to go, taking me places. And he's like, yeah, let's figure this out. Let's end up with our own one day.
Yeah. And it's fun when people are like, you're going to do what? And I'm like, yeah, enjoy, whatever it is you're doing. I'm sure you're great at it, but I'm going to go do this thing.
Yeah.
And I'm going to show people it's possible.
Yeah.
Could not work, but if you believe in it, it's going to work. So, Heck yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that might be it. Do you have any more for me?
Well, I tell you what, what's next? You talking about starting to haunt?
Well, I mean, that'll be years and years down the road. We just recently bought a house in Huntington, so
congratulations.
Thank you. And but yeah, it's pretty much. I'm just gonna be going to haunted houses this October, writing about them, maybe acting some, and just still being creepy.
Shoot, yeah. Oh, what all you want to plug? Tell people where to find Taser Girl.
I'm just on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. I'm trying to post some more on TikTok. That's my culprit of like comparing myself and having a hard time with like looking at followers is TikTok. So I'm not on there as much.
Yeah. And you are going to be regular spooky writer for Real WV?
I believe so. We haven't really had a big discussion. It's usually like they contact me like, hey, you want to write about this? Or I'll see something. I'll be like, hey, can I write about this? And they're just like, yeah, sure. You can do whatever you want.
Awesome. Well, cool. Well, Anna, you're an inspiration to me. It's so cool to hear your story and your drive to just make things happen.
Well, thank you.
You don't make excuses, and it's very refreshing to hear these stories. Everyone that comes in here just has their own greatness about them, and I appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah. Everyone else out there, be sure to stay tuned with Real WV. Like them on Facebook, and they have therealwv.com, I believe it was. Yep. So that story, I'm not sure what the deadline is on it, but stay tuned. Anna's going to be writing a story about this interview. And also be sure to like this video, subscribe to Creepalachia on YouTube. Don't forget we are on Facebook and on TikTok as well. And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, please take a minute, review this podcast. Those reviews are really going a long way to improving our SEO. For some reason, random videos are popping up on Anna's algorithm. So thank you for that. Thank you for all the shares. And above all else, everyone, please remember the most important thing of today: long live Appalachia.